uplifting, inclusive community. And our mission. So, how are we going to get there? We teach spiritual transformation with grace and joy. Yes, joy. Filling in for Judy. Yes. Okay. And our sacred reading today comes from the Science of Mind. So, our very own Ernest. A new light is coming into the world. We are on the borderland of a new experience. The veil between spirit and matter is very thin. The invisible passes into visibility through our faith in it. A new science, a new religion, and a new philosophy are rapidly being developed. This is in line with the evolution of the Great Presence, and nothing can hinder its progress. It is useless, as well as foolish, to make any attempts to cover this principle or to hold it as a vested right to any religion, sect, or order. The truth will out. Spirit will make itself known. Happy are we if we see the things which, from the foundation of the human race, have been longed for by all aspiring souls. And back to our music. Hi, it's me again. Good morning. Welcome to the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living, where we get to embody that of which we want to see in the world. Well, one thing I always like to kick off with is what we do best and what I feel like all of us could use a little bit of from time to time. And that is prayer. Thank you. I was like, drum roll, please. That is prayer. So let us pray for you. Let us be available. There are many practitioners that are actually here today that can support with that. But there's 24/7 support if you go to our website. So please take advantage of letting us support through prayer. Also, as far as announcements for today, we are seeking volunteers. So if something about gadgets and technology just gets you excited, we absolutely have the opportunity. I heard a little chuckle in the back. So it's for our soundboard, and we definitely will love to provide the training. Soundboard is so essential to making this happen. So thank you for those that have already stepped up and said yes, and there's room for more. And as far as our next announcement, I'm actually going to invite Miss Camille to come and talk about it herself. So more to come.
And as somebody who's been volunteering in the back with the sound, I can tell you that is a very easy and simple experience. So hopefully you'll come join us. Hopefully you'll come join us on Tuesday, August 10th. Here at the center, we are stepping right into what is going on in our everyday living. And one of the things that's going on is change. And last month, we talked about a component of change called uncertainty. Living with uncertainty. It was a really powerful, interactive experience. We're going to do it again on Tuesday, August 10th, with a specific intention, and that is to increase our resilience, our flexibility, and our spontaneity when it comes to change. And how we're going to do that is we're going to look at some of the more important aspects of change that I've created in my course, Ready for Change, but I'm gathering it all up so we can get right to it in one evening. We're going to talk about the difference between change that is imposed upon us, we're all experiencing that, and how that's different from change that you might want to initiate. We're going to examine what change really is. We're going to look at the spiritual definition of what change is. We're going to look at our own beliefs about what change is so we can modernize them to better live with change. We're going to look at the 3 phases of change, really, really important. Uncertainty is one of those phases, but the other 2 are equally important to understand. We're going to take a look at how our past influences our relationship to change. It does. And we're also going to look at why change ignites what I call a bit of a battle between the head and the heart. I'm going to offer 2 opportunities. You can attend here at the center or you can attend via Zoom. I have registration forms for those who are here today if you'd like to register, or you can simply go to my site, CamilleConti.com. And I want to thank Reverend Don for continuing to create a space for this fantastic opportunity so we can come together and make sure that we are in alignment with what's happening versus be in resistance to it. Thanks.
For the minister's moment this morning, I have 2 things. First of all is masks. You notice the choir, Aaron, are masked today. It appears that the virus is not going away. In fact, it's getting much worse. We're monitoring it every single day. If it continues to spread the way it is, we will likely all have to wear masks next week. But you will be advised through the e-blast. Hope you're getting our email every week. We'll let you know in the email and our other methods will notify everyone on Facebook. So that's something that may be coming is masks. And the second thing is this idea of volunteering. I know that we just announced it, and Camille gave us a great testimony as to what a great job it is. There are people out there who want to come and be of service, but they don't want to be with and around people all the time. They don't necessarily, they wouldn't be comfortable being the greeter, for example. They sure wouldn't ever want to be up here on the platform, but they would like to be of service. And what a perfect way to be of service. You can kind of be quiet and out of the way. Nobody sees you, but you get to come in and contribute in many different ways. And having an additional person on the sound team would really help us out a lot. So those are my moments for today. Music.
Teach me to pray. My heart is open wide. My cares are swept away. Oh Spirit, teach me to teach me to love unconditionally. Let my heart open up.
Jessica, thank you so very, very much. It was beautiful. Well, welcome everyone. All of you that are here in the sanctuary today, welcome. Thank you for coming out today. And welcome to those of you who are watching from home, the bedside viewers, still in your pajamas. And I swear, someday we're going to do that pajama thing. But thank you for welcoming us into your home. It's been said that the greatest gift you can ever give is your time. And I want to thank you for giving your time to us today. And for those who are watching later, we appreciate you as well. And maybe you can't attend or watch live, so we have it on YouTube. And I was recently made aware of how many views we have on YouTube. And I am deeply, deeply honored to know the hundreds of people that view our Sunday services on YouTube during the week. So thank you. The monthly theme for August is a pause for guidance. And as I was mulling that over and thinking about a pause for guidance, I got a notification that it was time to take my car in for its warranty inspection. It had to go in for a tune-up. And so the title of the talk today is Time for a Tune-Up. Sometimes it's important for us to take time to look at our spiritual values, to look at what we talk about and make sure that the way we act and what we do is in alignment with what we say, with alignment with what we act, the way we are. So maybe it's time for a tune-up. And so I came up with 3 things that can gum up our spiritual engine. The first is a belief in lack. Oh my, that is huge. The second is shame. And the third is a belief that we have been made faulty, that we somehow were a hiccup in the creation of everything. So first of all, the belief in lack. And if you haven't figured it out, a lot of these points and ideas are coming from our book study that's going on now, Brene Brown and Daring Greatly. The belief in lack. In the book, there is an exercise, and the object is to fill in the blank. Never blank enough. And wow, the answers that came out of that were unbelievable. Some of the women put in things like never thin enough, never a good enough mother, never pretty enough. I mean, on and on. The things that were never enough. Some things that I thought of. Sometimes wake up in the morning and, oh, boy, I don't know where that night went. I didn't get enough sleep. Or a companion to it is, oh, now I'm behind. I'd love to meditate this morning, but I don't have enough time to meditate this morning. Ram Dass used to say that he always meditated a minimum of 2 hours every morning. And the only time that he varied from that was if he had a really busy day and he had a lot of things that he had to do, and then he'd meditate for 4 hours. We do have enough time. And when I think of lack and limitation, I've shared with you before the time I was out on a trout stream and a school of salmon came in, and there were so many salmon choking that river that they were swimming right into my boots. And that's sort of my picture of abundance. But it goes far, far beyond that. We can look at the stars in the sky and we think, oh my goodness, you couldn't even possibly begin to count all of those stars. But wait a minute. Most of those things that we look at and we think are stars are really entire galaxies. And each one of those little tiny pinpoints of light is composed of millions and millions, billions, trillions of stars of their own. And there are so many of them out there, it just boggles our brain. We can't even get our brain around it. I liken it to try to count the grains of sand on every beach in the world. And we just couldn't come up with a number big enough. Never blank enough. Endearing greatly, Brene Brown said, "What makes this constant assessing and comparing so self-defeating is that we are often comparing our lives, our marriages, our families, our communities to unattainable media-driven visions of perfection. Or we're holding up our reality against our own fictional account of how great someone else has it." What anyone else has or what anyone else's picture is really doesn't affect us. The thing that can drive us in terms of scarcity, this belief in scarcity, is that there is enough. There is enough time, there is enough energy, there are enough resources. We just need to open ourselves up and receive them. The second thing that can gum up our spiritual engines is shame. Oh boy, that's a good one. Was talking with Erin last week, and I was trying to encourage her to attend the book study, and I said, well, this week we're going to be talking about shame. And she said, Rev, you're not doing a real good job of selling that. I don't know who wants to come to it and study shame for 2.5 hours. Definition of shame, according to the dictionary: a painful feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. But then it goes on, and this is great. It says, as an example, it says, she was hot with shame. And I think that's important because I think in shame, when we feel shame, there is a physical component. You feel it when you're feeling shame. And I want to go on and make a further definition to clarify this thing called shame. And I want to draw a line between shame and the other things that we feel. The big one covers most of it is guilt. So what's the difference between shame and guilt? Guilt is, I did something wrong. Shame is, I am wrong. I did something bad. I am bad. And it is that which really harms us, is when we start taking that on and we feel that we are bad. Brene Brown again. She said, yes, shame is tough to talk about, but the conversation isn't nearly as dangerous as what we are creating with our silence. We all experience shame. We're all afraid to talk about it. And the less we talk about it, the more of it we have. She goes on to say a couple pages later, we all have shame. We all have good and bad, dark and light inside of us. But if we don't come to terms with our shame or our struggles, we start believing that there is something wrong with us, that we're bad, flawed, not good enough. And even worse, we start acting on those beliefs. If we want to be fully engaged, to be connected, we have to be vulnerable, and we need to develop resilience to shame. Resilience to shame. So what are the steps toward shame resilience? How do we deal with shame in our lives? And she suggests the first thing that we need to do is to practice courage and reach out. We can reach out and share our experience of shame with someone else. Secondly, she says you can talk to yourself the way that you would talk to someone that you love dearly, if they came to you for support during a time when they experienced shame, when they felt that physical thing inside that we're calling shame. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone that you really love and whom you are trying to comfort during a meltdown. In other words, talk to yourself like you would someone that you truly love. Little hidden gem in there, and maybe you got to start loving yourself. And then the third step was to own the story. Man up to it, and I know that's a bad term, but what I'm trying to say is step into it and own it. Take responsibility. I did wrong. I messed up. Own it. In the book, Brene Brown wrote, if you own this story, you get to write the ending. If you own the story, you get to write the ending. Brene Brown then tells this really compelling story. To give a little background to it, part of the things that she reveals and she talks about in the book is that she is a pleaser. She's the kind of person that wants to please everyone, and saying no to people is difficult for her because she does want to please everyone. But she's learned to set up boundaries and create that. One of the things that causes her shame, if you will, is that she does have to turn so many requests to speak, engagements. She has to turn them down. And that's always hard for her. Well, she had received a request, and the time that she was invited to make a presentation conflicted with a family birthday. And she has these boundaries. She set these things that she's not going to give up family birthdays to do presentations. And she wrote the gentleman back and politely declined, said she wouldn't be able to do that, and got a very heated reply back from him. And in this reply, he was pretty abusive, and he pretty much called her names. He was very, very harsh, and it hurt her. And like any of us would do, she got defensive. So what she did, and one of the things that she does, you know, in these the steps, she follows her own teachings. The first thing she did is to reach out. And so what she would do is forward it to her husband. And she forwarded this to her husband with her own notes in there. And in there, she refuted the things that he said, and probably not in her normal good girl way. She did, well, the way she stated it is, I will neither confirm nor deny that I used the term horseshit twice. And when she done, she got that off her chest. She felt good, and she hit the send button, and she looked down. Oh, shit. She hit reply instead of forward. And sure enough, just a few moments later, bang, came his reply to her. And in this reply, he said, I knew it. You're a rotten person. You're no good. You don't live up to the things that you preach. You don't even act. And he just lit into her and really let her have it. And she sat there and let that shame wash over her. And she experienced it. So what she did then is she reached out to her good friend Karen and to her husband Steve and told them exactly what had happened. And she let them hold her up. She let them support her. She let them do the things that they were good at. And she began to talk to herself as if she were the one advising herself. And in that, she said, what I need to do is own it. I need to get into this and do it. And so she composed an email back to him in which she said, I messed up. I really screwed up. I meant to forward that to my husband. And the comments that I made were me venting. They were me getting this off my chest. I was very deeply hurt by what you had to say. But she stepped into that, and the important thing is that she was able to step into that, and she could control the ending of this story. She owned the story, and she was able to control the end. It's a powerful, powerful thing to do, to step in and own when we make those kinds of mistakes, when we do it. And I thought that was really great that she could not only talk about that, but she was daring greatly enough to put it in a book. I mean, it's, you know, we all say things on the internet last forever, and they do, but boy, you put them in print, I think they last even longer. So the third thing that can gum up our spiritual engines is this belief that we are made faulty, that we have something inherently wrong with us, not good enough. And we're told that so very, very often. And I want to dance around a topic that has been around for thousands of years. Imago Dei. Imago Dei. Was first introduced really to us in or at least my awareness, in Genesis, when it stated that man was made in the image of God. Imago Dei, the image of God. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that we look like God, that God looks like us? Well, I don't know. Does that mean God has 2 arms, 2 legs? Does it mean, what does that really mean? Then a couple thousand years later, along come Christianity, and they deal with this too. And in the book of James, they talk about what is this Imago Dei? What does that really mean? And they parse it out a little bit further, and it's not so much a physical resemblance, it's not a physical image likeness, as it is a mental likeness. It is a thing inside your head. It is your ideas, attitudes, beliefs. And I think that we can even drill that further down. And to me, what that Imago Dei really is this concept that the qualities of that infinite source, whether you call it God, Spirit, the thing itself, whatever it is, the qualities that exist in that are also within each and every one of us. When we think back that in the beginning, when there was the first of creation, this is what happened before the Big Bang, this is what happened in the very, very beginning. If this creative force gave expression to itself in the physical plane, it had to make itself out of whatever was there, and the only thing that was there was itself. I think you probably all remember my epic joke about the scientist that claimed that he could create everything just like God has, and including man. And he was challenged by a theologian, challenged by God himself, in fact. And God made man out of the clay. And the scientist said, well, I can do that too. And he reached down and picked up a handful of dirt, and God says, get your own dirt. It took a minute, they got it. But that creation had to come from something, and that something had to be that infinite creative force itself. And so however you look at it, however we are, however we ended up to be what we are made from that same infinite source. So we have all of the DNA, we have all of the characteristics of that infinite creative force within each and every one of us. Now, luckily, they're all mixed in different amounts and quantities and qualities and everything else. But the qualities that we see in that divine creative force, that infinite intelligence, infinite wisdom, are all inherent within each and every one of us. We cannot be made imperfect because we are made from that which is perfect. We are made from the divine itself. And our tune-up is to remember that we are perfect products of that creative force, that all of the qualities of that divine are within each and every one of us. In the Olympics, I think we're all excited. Everybody's so proud of our Alaskan 17-year-old girl that won a gold and a silver now. But we had a gymnast that dropped out. We had a gymnast who stepped away, who had qualified from everything. Simone Biles was recognized as the GOAT, greatest of all time. Incredible skilled lady who worked for decades at her craft of gymnastics. Just amazing, the best ever. And she stepped away. That took incredible courage. That took daring greatly. That took something so special to step back and say, I can't do this. I will hurt my team. I could hurt myself to continue. And there are those who blame her, who say that she's weak, that, and I disagree. She's not weak, she is strong. Daring greatly. She certainly stepped up and did that. Our sacred reading today, thank you, Stevie, nailed it. That was perfect. The truth will out. The Spirit will make itself known. As we go through this thing called life, that infinite creative force, that infinite intelligence, the infinite wisdom is all within us, and it will out. That infinite presence will guide us and lead us. So the conclusion, what I want you to take away today, and this is another quote from the book, but I think it's powerful. A little preface to it too. One of the things that Brené Brown did is she looked at the difference in shame between men and women. And at first when she did that, I didn't like that because, all men, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I never really bought into that all women are this way or all men are this way. But I gotta admit, the stuff that she hit in there really hit home. I mean, the shortcomings that we put on ourselves can be very, very powerful. She wrote, as I look back on what I have learned about shame, gender, and worthiness, the greatest lesson is this. If we are going to find our way out of shame and back to each other, vulnerability is the path and courage is the light. To set down those lists of what we are supposed to be is brave. To love ourselves and support each other in the process of becoming real is perhaps the greatest single act of daring greatly. And so with this awareness of our own inherent divinity, I invite my colleagues, the practitioners, the licensed practitioners, and unlicensed practitioners as well to hold our congregation in love and light, to join me in recognizing that there is indeed a power in the universe, one magnificent creative power, and that power is continually and forever expressing itself through and as each and every one of us. And so each and every one of us have within us all of the building blocks of perfection. And so as I speak my word now for those who are experiencing physical problems, the picture of dis-ease, we can simply know that truth for them, that beyond this appearance of dis-ease, whether it be COVID, cancer, or anything else, that there is within each of us a blueprint that is perfect. And that blueprint may include COVID, it may include cancer, it may include something else. But that which is within us is perfect, and it is guiding us to exactly where we need to be. And I speak my word for those who are experiencing lack and limitation, the belief that there is not enough time, not enough love to go around. I simply say that that is a false belief, that the truth of the matter is, the capital T truth, is that there is plenty of love to go around, that we are beings of love. There is plenty of prosperity to go around, that we live in an abundant universe that is so vast, we can't even imagine it. And I speak my word for those who are feeling separation from one another and separation from God. I just simply remind that it is impossible for us to be separate, for we are all products of that infinite creative force. And that infinite creative force loves us just as we love one another. And that our love can never be extinguished. We may be physically distant, but we can never be separate. And so we just give thanks. We give thanks for our awareness of that power, that presence, that life that is within each and every one of us. And now we can just step back, knowing that that infinite creative force is for us and assists us as we go through this thing called life. All praises be unto the one, and so it is.
I see joy, I see peace, I see goodness surrounding me. I see love in every breath I breathe. I see God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see God in everything. I choose joy, I choose peace, I choose goodness surrounding me. I choose love in every breath I breathe. I choose God in everything. I choose happiness, I choose freedom. I choose the beauty that lives in me. I choose perfection in what life brings. I choose God in everything. I choose God in everything. I choose God in everything.
Take all Stevie's notes down. When she comes back up here, she wouldn't have anything to say. Boy, I'd be in trouble. This is the time in the service where we are afforded the opportunity to participate in one of our spiritual practices, that being the law of circulation. I'd like to recognize some of the people that were here today, or not here today, that are online watching us. We have Blaze, Claire Koppel, Loanne. We have Loanne and Luann. New name I don't know. Pamela Bowman Belzer, Judy Wolf, Joan Heidel, Heather Eldred, Lynn and Marion, Jean Karwowski, Kyle Ryan, hello Kyle, Cynthia George, Beverly Churchill, and Michelle Scammon, to name a few. Yeah, that blew me away when I found out that we have hundreds of people watching. And you look at the hours watched, it supports, I mean, they're watching the whole hour. Even my bad jokes. Please join me in our affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And so it is. Whoa!
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. my source, God is my power. God is my source, God is my power. God is my source, God is my power. God is my source. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power. God is my source, God is my power. God is my source, God is my power. God is my source. God is my source, God is my power. God is my source, God is my power. God is my source, God is my power. God is my source. God is my source, God is my power. God is my source, God is my power. God is my source, God is my power. God is my source.
And as we tune in to that one source, that one power, that one mind, let us surrender all beliefs in lack, releasing shame and low thoughts of self, recognizing that just as the galaxies disguise themselves as stars, we too are spirit disguised by flesh. The qualities of the infinite are woven into our DNA. And so let us affirm that there is more than enough love, more than enough time, and more than enough God to break through any illusion of scarcity. Acting only on those beliefs that serve me, I own my story, and that story is one of infinite love. And we release anything that doubts that. I'm so thankful. I let it be, and so it is. And our affirmation for today: I practice courage.
I practice courage.
I am resilient to shame.
I am resilient to shame.
I am enough,
I am enough.
and I am God.
I am God.
And so it is.